What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Talking About Baseball. Today is MLB Recap number 3. Also, I just want to say sorry for not uploading shorts or videos the last 3 days. I had a couple scheduled, but I've been pretty busy this week. The shorts will be starting again tonight, coming along with this video, so I apologize for breaking the streak of daily shorts. A new one will be started today. And also, you should be expecting a franchise video, a different video, and an MLB recap next week, hopefully, if all goes well. But to start us off, we begin with the walk-offs of the week. To start off, on the 13th, Nick Castellanos started off the week with a walk-off single to steal a win for the Phillies after a slow-ish start. The very next day, on the 14th, the Guardians walked it off yet again. This time it's Andres Jimenez. The very next day, the Phillies do it again. This time, a very unlikely player for them, Christian Pache, gets the walk-off. Also, once again, the very next day, on the 16th, we had 2 walk-offs. New free agent addition, Ahmed Rosario makes a splash for the Rays as he wins the game. And also on the 16th, the Diamondbacks walk off the Cubs 12-11 in a high-scoring extra innings game. And finally, on the 17th, a couple days ago, Cedric Mullins goes yard to win the Orioles the game, just the 3rd walk-off home run of the year. And now, on to debuts every day. The numbers went up a little bit this time. There was 15 debuts across the week and some pretty big names too. Blue Jays offseason signee Yariel Rodriguez from Cuba was called up. There's also Cole Winn, Ricky Vanasco, and Mitchell Parker. White Sox prospect Nick Nastrini was involved in the Lance Lynn trade last summer, came up. So did Jonathan Clase, former top prospect Forrest Whitley, and current top prospect Andy Pages. Finally, along with the 2nd overall pick in the 2021 draft, Jack Leiter. Also coming up was Jair Camargo, David Banuelos, Johnny Pereda, Landon Knack, Jonathan Cannon, and Cam Boozer. For the debut of the week, we're going to go with the guy who debuted the earliest this week, and that was Yariel Rodriguez. He actually pitched in 2 games because of how early he debuted this week. In his first start, he only went 3 2/3, but he did strike out 6 and only allow 1 run. And in his second start, he went 4 innings, once again allowing 1 run, and this time getting 7 strikeouts. Now that we finished the 2 shortest segments of the entire video, let's move on to the injury report. Start off the injury report, we do unfortunately have a player on the 7-day concussion list. That is Tyler O'Neill of the Boston Red Sox. He is the only guy on there. Concussions are not very common in baseball. Moving on to the 10-day injured list, fortunately for the rest of the teams, there actually hasn't been too many injuries this week, but there also has been some really big players getting injured, especially on this 10-day that we're going to mention. So starting off, we have Ozzie Albies, who fractured his toe, Seiya Suzuki of the Cubs with an oblique strain, Gio Urshela of the Tigers also with an oblique strain, Christian Yelich with a lower back strain, Francisco Alvarez, who may be moved off the 10-day into a higher like 15 or 60 because he has a torn ligament in his thumb and is undergoing thumb surgery. And finally, we have Chris Bryant with, just like Christian Yelich, a back strain. Moving on to the 15-day, lots of pitchers here, in fact, only pitchers here. Ryan Nelson with an elbow contusion, Tyler Wells with an elbow contusion as well, actually. Garrett Whitlock with an oblique strain, Kyle Freeland with an elbow strain, Bobby Miller with shoulder inflammation, his teammate Kyle Hurt also with shoulder inflammation, and finally our last 3 are Marco Gonzalez with a forearm flexor strain, Yu Darvish with upper neck tightness, and Chad Green with a teres major strain. And finally, unfortunately, we always have to move on to the 60-day where there's going to be some big injuries. There's 4 players on the 60-day, of course, all pitchers, and 3 of them, their seasons are over. To start off, there's Sawyer Gibson-Long of the Tigers, who's undergoing Tommy John surgery. His season over. Offseason signee for the Angels, Robert Stevenson, had to undergo elbow surgery. His season also over. And finally, Daniel Duarte, who's been a pretty solid reliever for Minnesota thus far, will also be having elbow surgery to end his season. And finally, Brock Burke has a broken hand, which is going to require surgery, but he should be back at some point this season. Now we move on to the bread and butter of this video, the team recaps. Let's get into it. To start off, yet again in first place in the AL East is the Yankees. They went 4-3, going up to 14-6. Their game of the week is going to be on the 19th, where they scored 5 in the 7th inning, mainly from a Juan Soto 3-run home run, beating the Rays. In second place is the Orioles, who went 4-2, bringing them up to 12-7. Their game of the week was on the 16th. Grayson Rodriguez has an amazing start, while young stars Gunnar Henderson and Jordan Westburg go yard to win 11-3. In third place is the Blue Jays, who are tied with having the best week at 5-1. That brings them up above 500 to 11-9. Their game of the week was on the 14th. Jose Barrios had another great start, while newcomer Justin Turner had 3 RBIs and a 5-zip win for Toronto. And finally, tied in fourth, or tied in last, I guess, however you want to view it, is the Rays and the Red Sox. The Rays went 3-4, the Red Sox went 4-3, bringing them both up to 11-10. The Rays game of the week was on the 16th. Ahmed Rosario hit a walk-off single for the Rays in a game that went 14 whole innings. And finally, for the Red Sox on the 19th, they hit 4 home runs, 3 from rookies or second-year players, and were backed up by a great start from Brian Bayo. Moving on to the AL Central, in first place, yet again, we've got the Guardians at 5-3, bringing them up to 14-6. Their game of the week was on the 16th. The game went into the 11th inning, but the Guardians scored 3 in the 11th and then shut out Boston to win 10-7. The Royals went 4-1 to go up to 13-6. Their game of the week was on the 19th, when Alec Marsh had yet another really good start, while the late-scoring Royals offense gets 8 runs across the 6th and 7th innings to win 9-4. The Tigers are in third, going 3-5 to bring them down to 11-9. Their game of the week was on the 19th, when rookie Juancil Perez hit a go-ahead single in the 9th to secure a 5-4 win over the division rival Twins. Speaking of the Twins, they're in fourth place. They went 2-5 to bring them way down to 6-12, but that's not nearly as bad as last place. Their game of the week was on the 13th. They scored 7 runs in just 1 inning in the 12th to win the game by a ton, 11-5. And going into extras, it was only 3-3. And finally, you know who's in last place. It's the White Sox. They went 1-5, yet again getting just 1 win across a whole week, going up, I guess, to 3-16. Their game of the week was on the 17th. Gavin Sheets and Dominic Fletcher both got RBIs, while Eric Fetty gets his first win as a White Sox to win 2-1, and of course, that was their only win of the whole week. Moving on to the AL West, the Rangers went 3-4 to bring them to 11-10. Their game of the week was on the 17th, where they scored 8 runs in the first 4. The Tigers scored 7 through the first 4 after youngster Jack Leiter had a pretty rough start, but the Rangers ended up pulling through 9-7. The game of the week for the second place Mariners, they went up to 3-2, going 9-10, which they're still not amazing, but they're in second place in a surprisingly weak division. Their game of the week was on the 15th, with George Kirby having a good start and the Mariners offense having a good day with 3 RBI games from Jorge Polanco and Mitch Haniger. In third place is the Sputtering Angels. They went 2-5, bringing them down to 9-11. Their game of the week was on the 17th. Mike Trout hit a bomb in the first, and Taylor Ward gets the go-ahead single in the 9th to win 5-4. In fourth place is the Athletics. They actually haven't been all that bad this year. They're 8-12 right now after going 2-4. Their game of the week was on the 14th, and after scoring 6 runs in the 6th inning, the Athletics pulled away with a 7-6 victory. And finally, the lowly Astros in last place are 7-14 right now. Their game of the week was just yesterday on Friday. Justin Verlander came off the IL and went 6 innings, allowing 2 runs to give the Astros the win 5-3. Moving on to the NL East to be exact, we've got the Braves that went 5-1 to bring them up to 13-5 to start to bring them up to 13-5 for the week. Their game of the week was on the 19th, when Travis d'Arnaud went yard 3 times, and the Braves scored 4 in the 6th to beat Texas 8-3. The Phillies went 5-1 this week as well, bringing them up to 12-8. Their game of the week was on the 19th, when Spencer Turnbull had another outstanding start, while Alec Boehm hit 2 3-run homers to win 7-0. And third is the Mets, who also went 5-1, bringing them up to 11-8. Their game of the week was also on Friday, the 19th, and the Mets offense goes off at the end of the game to win 9-4, headlined by Francisco Lindor go-ahead 2-run homer. Wow. In fourth place, the Nationals went 3-3 to go to 8-11. Their game of the week was on the 15th. The Nats hand Tyler Glasnow his first loss of the year, his first loss as a Dodger as well, and win 6-4. And finally, unsurprisingly, in last place is the Marlins. They went 2-4. They are now 4-16. Their game of the week is going to be on the 13th as Max Meyer shuts out the Braves, while Brian De La Cruz hits a bases-clearing double in the City Connect jerseys to win 5-1. Moving on to the NL Central, in first place is still the Milwaukee Brewers. They went 3-3, bringing them up to 12-6. Their game of the week is going to be on the 13th, where they had a huge offensive game, scoring 11 runs for the second day in a row and beating a playoff contender in the Orioles 11-5. In second place is my Chicago Cubs. They had a really solid week, going 5-1 to bring them up to 12-7. On the 15th, Nico Horner hit a go-ahead single in the top of the 11th, and they ended up winning 3-2 over Arizona. In third place is the Reds at 3-3 and 10-9 on the season. Their game of the week was on the 14th. Graham Ashcraft diced up the White Sox, while the Reds closed them out with 11 runs for the second time in the series for the series win. In fourth place is the god-awful Pirates. They went 1-5, bringing them down to 11-9. And their game of the week was on the 14th, their only win of the week. Pittsburgh scored 5 in the 6th and beat the Phillies 9-2, backed by Mitch Keller's gem and Andrew McCutchen's 300th home run. Finally, in last place, you've got the Cardinals, who went 2-4, bringing them down to 9-11, and their game of the week was on the 15th. All of these Central teams had pretty similar dates, 13, 14, 15. But anyway, Lance Lynn on the 15th continues his pretty surprisingly good start, and the Cardinals beat the lowly Athletics 3-2. Moving on to the NL West, the final division here, the Dodgers go 2-4 to bring them down to 12-10. They've been unexpectedly bad so far. I mean, they haven't been horrible, but not as good as they were supposed to be. And on the 16th, Ryan Yarbrough had a pretty good start, while Mookie Betts put up 5 hits and 2 RBIs to get the win. In second is the Padres, going 3-3 to bring them stay at even at 500, 11-11. On the 14th, San Diego scored 6 in the 5th inning, and after a solid start from Joe Musgrove, they won 7-3. The Diamondbacks have yet another huge offensive output on the 19th after going 4-3 this week to bring them to 10-11. But anyway, their big offensive signing, Jordan Montgomery, came back, and Arizona won 17-1 over the Giants, and Jordan Montgomery was given plenty of backup runs, and he only allowed 1 in the first place. Finally, the final 2 teams, we've got the Giants in fourth place. They weren't horrible, going 4-3, but they're still only at 9-12. Their game of the week was on the 18th. Logan Webb threw a shutout while the Giants' offense was good enough, and they won 5-0. Also, this was the day before they gave up 17 to the Diamondbacks, so would have been nice if they could have spread those runs out a bit more. They got shut out and then scored 17. And finally, in last place is the Rockies. They went 0-5. They are now 4-15. They didn't really have a game of the week because they lost all of them, but I chose the 17th. They tried to come back late. They scored 5 in the 8th inning, but they could not, and lose 7-6 either way. We are going to skip in other news because pretty much nothing happened in other news. So that is the end of this video, and I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time on Talking About Baseball. And coming with weekly recap number 4 will be the beginning of the season team power rankings. So I hope you're ready for that, and I'll see you next time on Talking About Baseball. Bye.